So I want to talk about astrological remedies, and I'm noticing that in astrology there are a lot of people who kind of try suggesting remedies in a general sense, like maybe writing in a journal or doing shadow work, etc. Which is fine, sure, but once you get to Vedic astrology, a lot of people notice that there are very specific, almost superstitious like things that are suggested in charts. And a very good example of this is, let's take Venus, right? So if you're looking at a chart and you're like, hey, this person needs a Venus remedy. Unlike other systems, this mentions very specifically many of the same remedies that are either something to do with a mantra, a ritual, or the consumption of something. And one of these examples specifically is actually yogurt, right? So on the surface level, it kind of could be very weird. It could go over a lot of people's heads. But without getting too deep into it, I want to show you guys why a lot of these things are suggested and why they work. So Venus has a lot to do with relationships, pair bonding, right? Couples, all that stuff. And you might not make the connection immediately, but there's actually a science behind all of this. And I'm gonna show you guys an example of that. So lots of modern day foods here in the United States lack very many specific things, right? For example, milk is very pasteurized. Milk can be associated with the moon and Venus. So many Vedic astrologers, the traditional ones, will tell you specifically that you need an organic yogurt. You need a type of kefir or a fermented yogurt or something that has, right, the characteristics of what you would find in classical astrological texts. Well, why is that? You see, there is a bacteria known as Lactobacillus reuteri. A lot of people call it L. reuteri for short. But L. reuteri is considered a probiotic, and there is actually research showing that L. reuteri influences oxytocin production. Oxytocin is literally the pair bonding chemical. So if you're noticing that a lot of people are having trouble, pair bonding and forming relationships, this is actually directly related to your gut and the probiotics that you intake. So it's kind of interesting that ancient sages back in the day would make these suggestions because now modern science is catching up to Vedic astrology. We could go very deep with this, and we'll do that later, but this is just kind of like a way to show people that this isn't random villagers and shamans throwing stuff together because they're being random about it. There's a science behind this. Like, apart from, oxytocin being directly correlated to the intake of L. reuteri, as you could see here, this also stimulates things such as the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is in your throat. The throat is ruled by Taurus. Taurus and Libra, which have a lot to do with, marriage and relationships, are owned by the planet Venus. So as you can see here, the well goes very deep, and there's a lot to it. But when you see Vedic remedies thrown at people, everyone might question it and be like, oh, why would somebody tell me to do this or that, right? Like, why is Vedic astrology so weird? Well, here you go. This is why. It's science.